Yeah, listen, we had 7 league games in, we've had 3 last minute winners, but and you get the elation of that, everybody loves that from that side of it, but obviously to get it in the derby game is even more pleasing. You'd have to say that for long spells in the game it looked like a 0-0. We got away with one a wee bit with Boyle's chance off the bar. We just got caught a wee bit napping in anticipation of that one. Big Ocean maybe just caught a wee bit kind of on the hop. But you need a bit of luck in derby games. I think the supporters always feel that there's maybe there's something going to happen. We feel that. We always feel as if we're going to get a chance, and while we've got that, I think when you get last minute winners and it becomes a part and it becomes part of what you are, I think that it can be worth so many points and could be the difference. And I loved the such a beautiful sight seeing Tynecastle at the noise when we get the goal. It was a lovely floaty pass across from Saba and Halkett. It's a lovely thing, you need to say. You know, I mean, his timing is magnificent, and I know he was a striker with trade, but it's a brilliant finish. So from that point of view, we deserve a win, but it was a hard-fought game. Hibs, 2 different systems. We arrived at their box, we worked the ball side to side well enough at times. We could have done it a wee bit quicker and with a wee bit more purpose at times. Our refusal to put the ball in the box at times and our refusal to engage with our strikers at the right times was annoying me a wee bit, and we spoke about that at half time, and I thought we did enough to get our point in the game, but we're looking for a moment to try and come up with all 3 points, and thankfully we found it. But there wasn't a lot in the game. You know, Hibs are a good side, they're well managed, they've got good players, and you know, I always thought it was going to be tight, and thankfully we found a way to come out with the 3 points.
Are you trying to keep a lid on the excitement? Because for neutrals, there's a lot of us willing you to make this interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot willing, but there's also a lot dying for us to fall flat in the face. Let's be honest, there's so many who don't think that is anything other than just a little period here. And listen, it may well be that, but we're just concentrating on the game. It's only 7 games in, the league's in its infancy. Whether teams are doing poorly at the minute or whether teams are doing well, it's far too early to be making any judgments on how a team plays. But we'll enjoy it while it's there. I think there's nothing wrong with the supporters getting excited. I think they see the manner in which the team play. I think they're getting a bit of encouragement from the Jamestown analytics, and we've been well backed in the past and continuing to be with James Anderson and obviously Tony Bloom's investment, and we've got good solid board members here with Mrs Budge and all the rest of it. So the club's in a good footing at the minute. So, but ultimately it's still about players, it's still about boys trying to win a game of football, and we have been good enough so far to win games, but you have to be honest, a lot of the games have been tight. So we're not blowing teams away 4 and 5-0. I know last week we had a strong convincing win, but all this Scottish Premier League is so tight, Peter, and there's not a lot between a lot of teams, and if you can get back-to-back wins, never mind 3 now we've got, you can quickly make some hay with that, and that's where we're at. So just long may it continue, but we've got to recognise from my point of view, from Paul, Alan, the staff and the players, that we're going to have to keep improving, and it's our job to try and do that.
What did you finish Craig Halkett?
Brilliant finish.
To have that composure, and what do you say about the Wigner?
I thought he defended brilliantly. He kept obviously the really aggressive with Bowie and Boyle in the main. As I said, he was like he'd probably get most touches in our box from winning headers as well, and he's so important for us. But to get a winning goal, I mean, obviously it was all our defenders have chipped in with goals this season. I think Big Frankie's maybe the only one that's no, and he's had a few chances. But Halkett's he's got to flight the ball brilliantly. He stayed on side. I actually thought he really was on side. I'm like, just make connection, and he's obviously tucked it away. So a brilliant moment to separate the 2 teams. The conditions were so difficult for both sets to try and bring that bit of quality, but it was a quality cross, a quality finish, and thankfully we've got the result we wanted.
How much thinking went into the timing of the changes, like the triple change?
Yeah, so there's a trade-off there. We took a risk with changing the shape. Obviously we were trying to get Harry at some point this side just to try and make some hay on this side with Kizaridis. But what we did change was Michael Steinwender, we asked him to be a fullback to provide a bit of cover for Halkett, because when the Hibs opened up that channel, and it was you don't want to Boyle to enjoy that run down the sides of Halkett, down the side of the defender, so we wanted to make sure that channel was still secure, because one or two of their best moments came down that left hand side for them. But we wanted Kerjota to play against Edinburgh, and just to try and get man for man on their kind of back three and their sitting midfielder Balassa. And look, I'm not saying that had a big influence to changes, but we tried to be positive with it. At the same point, were we playing well enough that you thought a goal was coming? So you're sometimes thinking that you don't want to be too gung ho with it, but we did try and find a way. We changed from matching up wing back to wing back on that side to attacking wide player against outside centre back. The same on this side because of Edis and obviously Forrest. And we got Elton on just to try and give us an out over the top. So, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say the subs had a massive bearing on it, but we did try to be positive with it. They were a bit late, I get that, in that sense. But, you know, we've got the result, but you'd have to say Kerjota's influence with the goal, his cross was nice for him, nice moment for him.
Yeah, because that's what you want from a winger, being able to cut into his stronger foot and legs as much as it was a good finish. The cross was perfect.
Yeah, and I was just bemoaning the fact that we weren't doing enough in the first half. I thought we actually just need half a yard with these conditions. Isn't it so difficult for both goalkeepers that, and I thought we turned it down too many times, and you know, just go and ask the question, and thankfully we did at that moment.
Derek, you say you have to improve. How confident are you that this team can improve still early in the season, and where do you feel you need to improve specifically?
Well, I think we train, all the players train with motivation, they train professionally, so I'm not looking for any more. I don't think they can give any more in terms of that. But we've got players to come back as well. We've got a few injured, we've got a few sitting in the stand today, we've got good players, so it shows you the depth. We've got Aju, who should probably back for Kilmarnock. We've got Frankie Kent, who will be back for Celtic. We've got Chesnikov arriving in January, so there's already a bit more beef to the squad, you know, a bit more kind of strength about it. So, you know, I think we can get improvements from signings and from availability of players, but for us, we've got to recognise that it's been a lot of tight games, and we just got to recognise that we're going to have to keep working hard for everything we get. Everybody's so desperate for success at Hearts, but what we've got to do is recognise that there's work to be done here. We were a bottom six team, a bottom six club last season, and it's not just a flick of a switch that makes things better. You're going to have to recognise that can you do your job better than your opponents Monday to Friday, and can you, as well as have good players, recognise that we're no all that unless we continually work and try and improve.
Are they playing the style of football that Derek McInnes wants yet?
I think I'm happy with how we're playing. I think we're playing with aggression. Last week was probably the best example of it against Falkirk, where we disrupted their natural game, and we were really aggressive with our work. But we switched to play. We had wide players crossing. We had goals, bodies in the box, and at times we had that the day. But you've always got to remember, as an opponent, try to stop you doing what you want to do as well. So some games look a bit more obvious about what you're trying to do, and you know, I'm confident we can continue to be a team that can score goals and create chances as we have been.
A lot of those players were here last season and took real sore ones in this fixture last year. Did you observe kind of what that meant to them to get back into the winning?
It doesn't do the players any harm that seeing Tynecastle like that. That's the best it's been since I've been here. We've had victories here and enjoyed the victories, and enjoyed last week. I really enjoyed last week because I thought we got a lot of what I was looking for, but the game today wasn't. We didn't always get what we were looking for, but you get the outcome. And the outcome's the winner. So when you see the noise and the scenes at the end, it's good for the players to see that. We know who we play for, but hopefully we can get more of that this season.
What do the next couple of weeks look like? And is there an element of frustration that after Falkirk, after Hibs, that you're not playing a game week after week?
A bit, but that is what it is, isn't it? It's the schedule. I think, as I say, we're into October now, and we're only 7 games in, where you actually play then 7 games in the month of December, you know, so it is a bit stop-start. But again, it will allow us to get Azu probably back up to speed in training, and 1 or 2 others, you know, take a step forward with that. So it's you take the good and the bad with it. We tried to get one, but I'm still hopeful we might get one the week leading into Kilmarnock, but we can't get one this week, which is fine. But I think these bounce games have been important for keeping the squad ticking over as well and motivated.